beat making basics.
What's going on YouTube? It's your man Everj Music, owner of Beat Making Basics, and we're back again with another dope video. If you're new to the channel, please do me a favor and subscribe. We're going to the next level with these tutorials, man. I promise you this. So let's go ahead and jump into today's video. What we're going to be covering is everything you need to know to get started in Logic Pro 10. All right, this is specifically for beginners, so if you're not a beginner, you can still stay along. I mean, it'd be a good overview or whatever, but this is really for beginners, just to get you introduced to Logic Pro 10, how to, where everything's at, and how to, get started. You know what I'm saying? So let's jump into it. Everything you need to know about Logic Pro 10. Now, of course, when you first open up the program, it's gonna, give you the option to create a new track. And basically there's several different track options that you can create here. One is a software instrument. If you look right here, all of these are just different buttons that you can click on, and that's how you're going to be able to select the different tracks that you're going to be able to create here. Most especially as producers, most of the time you're just going to be either using this software instrument or this audio track, but they also have something called a drummer track, and you can do the guitar and bass and an external MIDI track. But let's just look at this software instrument track for a second. If you click on that, you have an option where you can actually click the number of tracks. So say if you already know you're going to be doing nothing but software instrument tracks, you could just say like 10 right here. If you click on this arrow right here where it says details, you can actually go over here to instrument, and you can actually, they have a big huge instrument list that you can choose from right here. And then you can also click on an empty channel strip or a default channel strip, and then you can access a library of sounds another way. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and just create a software instrument track. We'll use this default patch. Make sure you have your output selected the right way. We have an output 1 and 2. Make sure that is selected. And if you are using a digital audio interface, make sure you go ahead down here where you see device and select that. All right, you just click on the arrow there. This is going to pop up. You want to make sure that your output and your input are the device that you're using. Okay, after you do that, go ahead and push create, and now we're in the software program. Now, like I told you before, you can actually access a library of sounds 2 different ways, really. So if you have a default patch, what you're going to do is you look over here at the very top of the screen. You can see there's different buttons, right? Basically, the first button that you see, top left, is going to be your library. So that makes it very easy to find sounds. You can pretty much come up here and search for sounds right there, or these are basically like folders of sounds. So if you click right here, it's going to break down to a bunch of different sounds in each one. That's not going to look like an actual folder, but it's pretty much like a breakdown where it has different sounds. So like, for instance, quick sampler, I can come over here, pad, and there's just different stuff right here. You got synthesizers, bell sounds, different things like that. So it breaks it down, helps you categorize things in that as well. But like I said, you can search for stuff. Like I said, I can push piano right here. Bam, all the piano sounds come up. Pretty dope. So you just click on one, and now literally we got a piano going right here. All right, so we got sounds. All right, so what we're gonna do now is pretty much go through this list up here, because these are just gonna basically be different windows, either on the right side or on the left, that you're gonna be needing to use to, create in Logic Pro 10. So we already know what this window does. It pulls up your sounds. Let's talk about this little eye. Okay, this is called the inspector. Okay, and what the inspector does is, say if you have a track right here, this is going to basically allow you to see this track down here, add effects, pan it left or right, control the volume, and EQ it, different things of that nature. You could even send the signal to an auxiliary track, and instead of having to open up a window like a mixing window, you can do everything from this inspector track. And it makes it real easy when it comes to actually editing your music or mixing your music. Sometimes you can add different effects and affect the level and everything like that. It's not always easy to have to do it like this, especially if you're coming from using GarageBand where you're just like you're mixing just like right here. It's a whole lot easier to have it vertical as well. So that's the inspector. Let's look at this guy right here. This is your quick help button, which I love this guy, especially if you're new to Logic Pro 10. If you click on that guy, anywhere that you hover over is going to give you a brief description of what it is. So say if I'm going to know what this is, okay, this is a name field, boom. All right, this is track icon. All right, bet. This is a track header. All right, cool. What is this little guy? Oh, that's a playhead. And it gives you everything that you need to know. Like, for instance, this is the workspace area. So this is where you're going to see, everything from recording, editing, arranging, audio, MIDI, drummer regions, etc. And so this is especially if you're new, go ahead and turn that bad boy on so that you can know where everything's at and what everything does. Okay. So I want to we're going to turn this guy off right now, but basically what this is going to do is going to bring up all your tools, and it's going to also basically help you with when it comes to editing. Okay, so if you ever want to edit within a track and you don't know the hotkeys and stuff like that yet, all you had to do is go over here to the very top and click this guy, and pretty much everything you're going to need editing wise is going to be here, at least the main things. All right, so say if like you bring in some type of sound here, you need to chop it up, you can just bring this playhead here and split that playhead, split by locations. You can join the tracks together, bounce the regions. You can cut the section, insert slice. I mean, there's a lot of different options here for editing. So that's that. Let's talk about this guy right here. So this is kind of similar to GarageBand. If any GarageBand users, like if you have this track right here, this basically gives you another bit of editing when it comes to your sound and everything. You can also have EQs here. So this is kind of cool as far as like having certain controls to make the sound different at a glance. So that's that. You know what I mean? This is called the Smart Controls window. Next thing I want to talk about is mixing. So if you have lots of tracks right here, you want to get a different view where it's just mixing, then this guy is going to be what you pull up. And as you can see here, we have a master track, we have a stereo out, and then we have our tracks. Now, of course, if we had a full session here, you would see more. So I'm going to just show you real quick. Pull this bad boy up. We'll just don't close. Open him up. And so, for instance, if we go over here to the mixer, boom, you feel me? You can see all of the different tracks here. So like this kick is here. You also see it here. You can adjust the levels and add effects and everything like that. Vice versa, you got the symbol. See how it, highlights this when you click on it. Pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? Like the mixing part of Logic Pro 10 is lit. You know what I mean? And this is how you access it. Next thing, there's another editor that you have here. You can edit audio. So I can come over here, like say I'm on this cymbal track and this happens to be an audio track. I can come over here, move this playhead over here, and we can basically fine tune and edit this out. I can come over here, boom, and remember I showed you this. I can split this joint, all right? So I can come over here, bam, now it's split. Come over here, bam, now that's split. Come over here, I can cut that out. I could do all different types of things. Now, I didn't want to do that, but you know what I mean? It's just different things you could do. Vice versa, if you're happening to use an instrument track or a software instrument track, you can come over here and they have something called a piano roll. This is where you can come in and draw in notes, okay? And so like if you hold down command, you can come in here and draw in notes. And with Logic, it's pretty dope. You can just click on the note that you want and you can just draw it in like that, or you can just click on it. My bad. You can click on wherever you want into in this area and you can extend the note. All right. So this is for everybody who likes to draw in your notes and your patterns and your melodies and stuff like that. While we're here, let me kind of go ahead and explain some things about this area. This again is called the piano roll. You can come over here and you can quantize the MIDI notes that you drew in. So say this was off, I can come over here and say, let me see, I wanted at 1/16. So it's a 16th note quantization. Or we can go over here and add a 16th note with a swing. They have different swings that you can do. They have tuplets and triplets and all this different type of quantization measures. You highlight it and then come over here and push the Q after you pick the time quantization. Or you can come over here and you can adjust the strength and the swing yourself. You know what I mean? I also got something called velocity. Velocity is just basically how hard or soft the note is playing. So I always leave the velocity all the way at 127. But it's pretty dope, you know what I mean? If you click on this guy, that's gonna be where you can, you know, see things like velocity. They have other different things you can pull up as well. But just to keep things simple, because I don't want you to overthink things when first getting started. Another thing you're gonna want to know is this guy. What this guy does, you click on him, it's gonna basically keep the playhead going, and you'll see it wherever it is in process of the song. You feel me? So that's that. If you keep on going through these buttons right here, you got this where you can see the actual music score of whatever you played. They also have something called a step sequencer, which is pretty dope. I have a whole nother video on the step sequencer, but let's just say if we were to create another software instrument track, bam, then I can come over here to the step sequencer and I can draw in notes there. Pretty dope. I'm gonna solo this. You know what I mean? This little stuff you could do when it comes to creation, man. This is how you access all of these. You got your smart tempo. That's something more advanced, but I would just say this is where you can find a lot of that stuff. You can dive deeper if you want here. We got different options there as well. So that's that. Let me kind of keep on moving over here. If you wanted to, of course, you know, stop, play, record, different things like that. This is your transport area. Y'all already know about that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody who's seen a, you know, tape recorder or anything like that, that's pretty much these functions. You know, this is reverse, this is forward, you know, this brings it to the very beginning, this plays it, this records, and this turns on a loop or turns it off. So now let's look over here in this area right here. So if you click this arrow, you have different options when it comes to the timing of your track and the position and everything like that. So the first option really is going to be the best option to go with, especially if you're just getting started. That way you can know exactly what the BPM is going to be. You can change and adjust how fast or slow the BPM is right there. And then you can see like the beats and the minutes and everything like that if you want to. This is time signature and this is a key signature. But it's like, say if I want to see the beats and time, I can do it like this, and now you see everything by minutes and seconds. So this is 2 minutes and 44 seconds. It's just kind of, you know, however you want to see it on the you know, in the workspace window. So that's that. We have some other features here too. This is solo, but the main thing I want you to see over here is the metronome. Like when creating, man, it's good to have a metronome, something to count you in or out when you're about to create a new track. So if I created a new track or do a new recording, if I create a new software instrument track, boom, say I'm ready to record, if you select this, it's going to give you a count in before it starts recording. And if you click on that, then you're going to hear the metronome throughout the whole time. So let's just kind of play around with that. Alright, you can hear how it's coming on in here and still playing, vice versa. If I turn that off and go in here, it's going to give me a 4 measure or 4 beat count in, and then once the actual 4 beat counting is done, you will not hear the metronome anymore because it's turned off. Let's see. So gives you options, man. Gives you options. This right here is another way to bring the volume up or down of the total track. Okay, so that's a pretty dope thing. And then if you look over here, you have some other options here. This right here gives you access to see where your events are in real time, whether it be through beats and ticks and stuff like that, or through actual sound, actual time. You got your markers here. Like say if we created some markers, you'll see that. Your tempo, say if there's tempo changing, you see that. Key signatures, say if your key signature was changing. So we'll go from a C major then to a C minor throughout the song. You would see that here. Normally for a beginner, you're really not going to be messing too much with this guy. Okay. Right here is pretty dope. This is actually going to be a notepad. So like I can come over here on any track. Let's say this right here, click on track, and I can leave notes about this particular track. And so this is pretty dope when it comes to collaboration. So say if you're working with another producer or an artist slash producer, you can write notes in here, or even for a mixing engineer, you can write notes in here and send that on that way. This right here, this little loop looks kind of like a y'all remember Hot Wheels, man, like when you used to put together your Hot Wheel sets. That's kind of what that looks like the car is gonna zoop around there, boom, or a roller coaster type joint. That's loops. That's your Apple loops. One of the most powerful ways to create, because you can drag these royalty-free samples in and create with that. Literally thousands upon thousands of sounds, man. And then you can, search the sounds and loops via different categories. You can actually come down here and search it as well. If you ever want to bring in, a file from off your computer, this last little button right here is the way to do it. You can look at your project and stuff like that, or you can just go to all files and you can get the whatever you're trying to bring in from there. So like, okay, I got this Big Sean joint, I can bring that in or whatever, you know what I mean? So that is just the basics of this. Let's talk about a few other things that you can do here. I talked about how to create a software instrument track, but I didn't really show you about the audio track. So same difference here with the audio track. You just select it right here. You click the plus first off, and then you come in here, you can select different things. So based on your MIDI interface or your digital audio interface and what inputs you have and where the mic is going into, etc., that's where you would select this. So I have my mic plugged into input 1, so that's why I have it on input 1. And always remember to, make sure your output is selected the right way. Okay? You just create the track. And I'm just going to mute it out so that we don't get any feedback issues. But then there you go. There's an audio track that you can use to either record vocals, or you can just throw something on it. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, this is pretty much how the basics of what everything you need to know when it comes to Logic Pro 10, really. Outside of that, it's just about creating, man. I'll come on back to this guy right here and just kind of show you when it comes to making beats. This is pretty simple. Now, let's say you don't have like a MIDI keyboard or anything like that, and you're just using, let's say, a Apple MacBook Pro, right? No MIDI keyboard, no nothing. You just got your headphones and a MIDI keyboard, and your computer and the program. If you want, you can push Command K, and that pulls up musical typing. And what that's gonna do is allow you to turn your keyboard on your computer into an actual keyboard for your music. So I can push A, and that turns into an actual note on the keyboard. Or I can push E or G, and you can kind of see everything right there. One thing you want to keep in mind is that Z and X moves it up the scale or down a scale an octave, which is very important. And then you also have velocities right here, so you can bring your velocity up of all the notes, so the notes hit harder, etc. So you also got modulation here too if you wanted to, and we got sustain. So you have a lot you can do. You can come in here and click right here with your mouse as well to make that go. So that's a very important tool here. Like say if you want to make beats and you don't have like a MIDI keyboard hooked up. So let's just go over here and actually start creating. I'm just going to show you a little something, and we'll go into that. And you know, all you got to do, make sure you got your metronome on, or count in, make sure you have that going, and we're going to get it rolling. All right, R, if you push R on your keyboard, that also enables the record. So let's do that. All right, so this is where we're going to tie everything in together. So you know, we recorded a track. You're going to come over here to this guy. This is your editor. You got this piano roll going, and basically you just highlight everything by pushing Command A, and if you move this over here, you can go to your quantization and quantize it. Another cool thing is to say if you want all the notes to end up at the very end of the next note or the beginning of the next note, you can click on the note, right click, and then go down here to force legato, and I'll move the notes instantly all the way to the end. Helps a lot when it comes to editing and everything like that. Alright, so we got a track going here. So if we wanted to continue to build and add, all you have to do is just click on this plus sign. You can keep on going here. So we can go software instrument track, we can go default if we want to, or we can pull up one of these. In some other videos, I'll be discussing a little bit more about what some of these other things can do. But yeah, I just want to kind of show you how you can get started here, creating and where everything's at and everything like that. So go here, pull up the musical typing by pushing Command K, and we can even use our mouse to click on things. Go over here. And say if you like that, you can come in here and record by pushing R. And you pretty much repeat the process, man. You can come over here to the scissors where it says piano roll. Make sure you highlight everything, and you can quantize it. Boom. And keep in mind, again, like what I was telling you about all these things at the top here, I can come over here to now the inspector tool, and instead of having to go to the mixing window, I can just see everything right here and adjust the sounds and adjust the levels and things like that based on which track is highlighted. So you're seeing now in real time how easy it is to come over here. I can turn off sends, add an effect to something. Let's put a little modulation on it, do a little chorus sounding. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so say we want to put an effect on this first instrument sound. Do the same thing. I can go over here to modulation, chorus. And if you want to turn off that metronome, you can turn it off like that. Now last thing I'm gonna talk about in Logic Pro 10, 10.5 actually. All the things I showed you is what you could do in any version of Logic, or any of the newer versions of Logic. But in Logic Pro 10, 10.5, they have something called a quick sampler. So I wanted to cover that too before we end the video. Now, what the quick sampler is going to allow you to do is quickly sample anything you want. I mean, in a breeze, you know what I'm saying? So say if you want to use, you can even sample this. So I'll show you what you do. You just go over here to the new track, software instrument track, and under instrument, you're going to click down here and scroll down till you see quick sampler. Click on stereo. This is the quick sampler. I have a whole video where we'll go in depth on this, but for the most part, you can come over here and drag and drop different sounds and stuff. So like say if I like this, I want to take that in there and drag it in. I can just take it and drag it like so, and I can mute these out, and now I have that same pattern I played right there. I'm gonna bring up into the musical typing just so we can play the instrument real quick. My bad, you gotta unmute here. My bad. But yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you want to, there's a couple different ways you can, you know, mess with the sound here. I can go over here to slice, and it already has everything chopped up for you, and you can pretty much slice it as fine or as not if you want, just by moving the sensitivity. So you can play around with that, or you can come over here to classic mode and bring this back up here. Hold it down as long as you want. Now if you wanted to follow the tempo, so we're at like 120 BPM, you can just click on this guy right here and it will follow the tempo for you. A lot of cool stuff it can do, man, and you have other knobs and bells and whistles that you can use on that. Again, if you do want to see more of a thorough breakdown of the quick sampler, watch my other video, man. I'm telling you, it's a pretty dope video. But man, for most part, this is everything you need to know about Logic Pro 10. I just showed you basically how to create a new track. I showed you different types of tracks you can create. Showed you everything. I'm gonna bring that back up. I'm gonna save this. Last thing I'm gonna do is show you how to save a track. Okay, if you go to file at the very top, yeah, so you can go here to save as. You can name this whatever you want. We could say like, you know, peppermint. We call it pep, and you save it. Boom. Now this is saved. Now if you want to bring up a new track, you go to file and go to new. This is pretty self-explanatory stuff right here, man. You can open up, you know, your saved tracks here by going to open or open recent. Close it if you want. You can open or save things as a template here. There's just a lot of different options you can do here. Say if you wanted to bounce down your track, you would go down to bounce, and this would be how you bounce down your beats. This would be how you know, do your track outs. You do export, and then scroll down to all tracks as audio files. Yeah, those are the basics, man. So appreciate y'all watching. If you want more videos like this, man, please let me know in the comments, and also make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Until the next time, man, appreciate y'all watching. We'll see you in the next one. All right, peace.